So as I say, I think knowing people and how they react is very important when you're doing magic, besides the method. Because no two people act the same way. You've got to size the person up, just like you do when you're playing poker. I mean, you've got to size up the individual.
And you've also been known for taking advantage of the breaks.
Yes, oh yes, that's one thing.
Something happened with Cliff Green?
Oh, yes, well, you see, I guess I'm born to deceive, I mean, in a way, because I get a keen delight out of fooling people that are really keen. I mean, anybody can fool a person that's looking out the window when you're doing the trick, or looking down, or tying their shoelace or something. But when you fool a keen person who thinks they're very smart, it's a certain pleasure in it, that's all. I mean, it's just like, you know, it's more pleasure than beating.
Would you tell us the story of Cliff Green, Professor?
Oh, well, that's not really a story, but years ago, Cliff Green and I, incidentally, were the pioneers in the so-called double lift. When we first came to New York together, because I was in Canadian Air Force uniform at the time, and Cliff Green and I came down to New York in I had to get leave from the Army, you know, at the Air Force at the time. I came down to New York with Cliff Green, and we both did a double lift. There was no such term as double lift in those days. And we fooled all the New York magicians with the so-called double lift. But he wants me to tell you how I met Cliff Green. So in my hometown, he came from Ottawa, Canada, as I did. I heard there was a fellow named Cliff Green, and anyway, I don't want to take too long to tell you all the details, but I eventually met Cliff Green for the first time, and he took a pack of cards and he said, oh, I've heard about you. He said, well, you'd show me a trick. And I said, well, you do a trick. He said, no, you do a trick first. And he handed me a pack of cards. So when he handed it to me, I saw the bottom card of the pack. Well, he shuffled the pack first like this, then he handed me the pack. But as he handed it to me, I saw the card was a 3 of diamonds on the bottom of the pack. And he handed me the pack. So I gave him a shuffle and kept the 3 of diamonds there. And I put the pack in my hand like that. And I said, now, Cliff, I said, I'll show you one of the simple things I do. I said, name any card in the pack. Now, I had no idea what I was going to do, but I was going to use the 3 of diamonds as a key card if he selected a card. I didn't know what I was going to do, because I used to always, you know, ad lib, you might say. So anyway, I said, name any card in the pack. He said, just name one? I said, yes, name any card. He says, 3 of diamonds. I said, 3 of diamonds? I said, look, I didn't say I cast a shadow, because Carlisle used to, but I said, look, all I do is that. And I turned the pack over slowly, and the 3 of diamonds was there. And if you ever saw a fellow, he grew pale. I mean, Cliff was a healthy. He looked, and I said, now what do you do, Cliff? And he walked away. I mean, and he told me in all his life he never was so thunderstruck as that thing. But because he was very clever at cards, you know. And I know, of course, I never told him it was a break. I didn't tell him it was just luck. I said, well, Cliff, I'd rather not give that away, because that's one of my pet secrets. So you got to be a kind of a charlatan to do these things, you know. But
Professor,
anyway,
this was an area of magic where I think you were a real pioneer, because I know when you first came to New York, you were fooling all of the magicians in New York City, and one of the things you were fooling them with was this idea of really kind of making up the trick as you go along.
Oh, certainly. Well, I have the trick that can't be explained, you know. When Ganson wrote that, he did the writing over in Waterlooville in England, you know, and I did